初心者は忘れがちですが、投資では利益だけではなくリスクについても考えておくことが非常に大切です。株式投資の世界ではリスクについて考えずに安易に投資をする人も多く、そういった人は後で後悔することになってしまいます。往々にして投資の世界ではリスクとボラティリティが同義語のように使われていますが、ボラティリティの持つ意味はどのような投資をするかによっても全く違ってくると言えます。例えば短期トレードなのか、それとも長期投資なのかでも変わってくるわけです。トレードなら安く買って高く売る、または先に高く売って後で安く買い戻すといった具合に、短期的なボラティリティは利益を上げるチャンスでもあります。同時に相場が見立てと逆に動いた場合は大きな損失となってしまいます。つまりボラティリティが高いということは、トレードではチャンスとリスクが背中合わせで大きくなるわけです。長期投資の場合はどうでしょうか。何も考えずに闇雲にリスクとボラティリティを同義語のように捉えて投資判断をしていると、長期投資においても機会損失ばかりか、本当に損失を被ってしまう可能性もあります。例えばある株に投資してみたが、思いのほかボラティリティが高く、これ以上下がったら怖いから 15% 下落したところで損切りしたなどという判断をする人は多くいます。つまりボラティリティをどう捉えるかによって投資判断が大きく変わってくるわけです。バフェットには数々の名言がありますが、その一つに真の投資家はボラティリティを歓迎するというものがあります。またパートナーのマンガーは以下のように発言しています。 MBA の教授たちは株価のボラティリティがリスクであるというナンセンスを一体どういう神経を持って広めることができるのか。私は何十年もの間この狂気が終わるのを待っていたが、それは未だに残っている。ボラティリティを測る指標にベータというものがありますが、バフェットはこれを使ってボラティリティについて語っています。
Yes, volatility does not measure risk. And the problem is that the people who have written and taught about volatility do not know how to measure, or taught about risk, do not know how to measure risk. And the nice thing about beta, which is a measure of volatility, is that it's nice and mathematical and wrong in terms of measuring risk. It's a measure of volatility, but past volatility does not determine the risk of investing. I mean, actually, take it with farmland. Here in 1980 or in the early 1980s, farms that sold for $2,000 an acre went to $600 an acre. I bought one of them when the banking and farm crash took place, and the beta of farms shot way up. And according to standard economic theory, market theory, I was buying a much more risky asset at $600 an acre than the same farm was at $2,000 an acre. Now, people, because farmland doesn't trade often and prices don't get recorded, they would regard that as nonsense, that my purchase at $600 an acre of the same farm that sold for $2,000 an acre a few years ago was riskier. But in stocks, because the prices jiggle around every minute, and because it lets the people who teach finance use the mathematics they've learned, they have, in effect, they would explain this away a little more technically, but they have in effect, translated volatility into all kinds of past volatility in terms of all kinds of measures of risk. And it's nonsense. Risk comes from the nature of certain kinds of businesses. It can be risky to be in some businesses just by the simple economics of the type of business you're in. And it comes from not knowing what you're doing. And it is, if you understand the economics of the business in which you are engaged, and you know the people with whom you're doing business, and you know the price you pay and is sensible, you don't run any real risk. And I don't think Charlie and I, certainly at Berkshire, I don't think we've ever had a permanent loss in marketable securities that was, what, 1% maybe? half a percent of net worth. I made a terrible mistake in buying Dexter Shoe, which cost us a significantly more than 1% of net worth, where I bought an entire business then. But I was wrong about the business. It had nothing to do with the volatility of shoe prices or leather or anything else. It just was wrong. But in terms of marketable securities, I cannot recall a case where we've lost. I mean, we've done a lot of things in securities that had a very high beta. We've done a lot of things in securities that had a low beta, and it's been very useful for people who wanted a career in teaching. But it is not. We've never found a way for it to be useful to us. Charlie?
Well, it's been amazing that both corporate finance and investment management courses, as taught in the major universities, we would argue it's at least 50% twaddle. And yet these people have very high IQs. One of the reasons we've been able to do pretty well is that we early recognized that very smart people do very dumb things, and we tried to figure out why. And we also wanted to know who, so we could avoid them. And
さて、株式投資にボラティリティはつきものですが、テスラ株のベータは現在 2.04 となっています。つまり S&P500 の2倍以上のボラティリティです。ボラティリティがそのままリスクならば、テスラ株は2倍以上のリスクということになります。人によってはテスラ株のリスクはそんなものでは済まないと見る人もいるかもしれません。また逆に S&P500 のインデックスでは機械損失のリスクが大きいと見る人もいるかもしれません。いずれにしても自分にとって本当のリスクとは何かしっかりと考えることが大切だと言えるでしょう。皆さんはボラティリティとリスクについてどのようにお考えでしょうか。ぜひご意見ご感想をお願いいたします。最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。